everyone, this is Coach Angela. I know we had some questions about what we could do with shoulder injuries, wrist pain during our Sweet Summer Sweat Challenge. So I just wanted to start off by saying kudos for identifying that you've got an injury or something that's causing you pain, identifying that and not continuing with the exercise that causes pain. That's huge. A lot of times we push through pain, increases the injury, decreases our recovery time, and makes it much harder to come back from that injury in the long run. So way to go on identifying that. I'm going to demo several different exercises that are going to target the chest or pectoral region. I want you to make sure that you are mindful of what feels good and what doesn't feel good. So out of these 4 to 5, test them out and see if it targets that impingement or tear or injury that you've already got. And then maybe go to the next exercise and see how that feels. It's really important that you make sure that we still activate and use the muscle group that is experiencing recovery, because simply forgetting about it underutilizes the muscle, and it's going to make it a lot weaker when we start back at our full range of motion. So making sure that we find something in the interim that we can go to and modify that exercise in the meantime is just going to make sure that you come back even stronger. And I just want to also touch on proper warm-up and recovery. So no matter what, even if you're just testing these out, for 3 reps, make sure that you give yourself some hug and love, that you're loosening up those shoulders, that you're jogging in place to get some blood flowing, that you're really doing some shoulder mobility exercises. These snake arms are like my favorite that Coach Karina has told us about. Doing a couple of our windmills here, really warming up that upper body, getting that blood flowing, making sure that we drop down into these exercises that the body is ready for them, those muscles are warm and loose. And then recovery always, we talk about this in Kaya class, making sure that you take care of your body after you've just asked it to do something. And the same applies almost tenfold when we're coming back from an injury. You really want to love up that area and make sure that it gets exactly what it needs to heal faster and stronger for you. So if you have any questions about recovery, always check with your owner and your coaches, and we can also post a couple of recovery exercise videos too. Okay, so our first one is going to be elevated push-ups. So this kind of might seem like, oh, common sense, but in reality, a lot of times we think elevating makes things a lot easier because it's less body weight. So depending on what kind of injury you're coming back from, this may or may not work for you, but definitely if you have any wrist injuries, I've actually had a couple of fractures in my left wrist, so elevating when that pain ignites is huge for me. So, and I'll also notice when I elevate that I have a better range of motion a lot of times than when I'm fatiguing in full Kaya push-ups. So elevating, I could do it on my windowsill, if you've got a chair or even your couch. If you're out at a park, you've got a bench. If you're at Kaya, you've got boxes. So elevating yourself, making sure that when we're elevating, whether it's on the wall or on a box, that we're not bringing the arms up over the shoulders, so that when we're doing our push-up, we look like this. We want to make sure that we're staying in that range of motion. We're bringing those shoulders right above the fingertips of our hands and exhaling back up. So I've also got this guy. You can usually find one of these for like 20 bucks at Walmart. We practice pull-ups on this all the time. And this is also great for wrist push-ups. So if you are more advanced in your push-up at this time, but you're noticing some wrist issues, you can always do a supported wrist push-up. But just keep in mind that these are a little bit more advanced, and you want to make sure that you have that stable fist, so that way your wrist isn't rotating as you lower or come down. So there's a slight elevation here. I'm also taking pressure off of that wrist, inhaling down, exhaling up in that perfect 45 degree. 2 options there. Then we've got, excuse me, our TRX. If you don't have a TRX, you can use resistance bands. I am an avid TRX lover. I think everyone should have one of these, not only because it's easy to travel with, but they're just a blast, and you can do a total body workout at any point in time. And they're also really fun for recovery for shoulder or any other kind of injuries. So for a chest press in the TRX, you're in control of your body weight. So I can choose to step way back and push a lot of my body weight, or step in and push a more minimal amount. So you choose how far, how close you want to be to that anchor point, knowing that that's going to increase or decrease the difficulty of this move. Now, it's also taking tons of pressure off of the wrist, so this is great for anyone who has any wrist injuries. So it's just like a push-up in that I'm coming back with that 45-degree angle. I'm in that perfect plank. I'm going to exhale and squeeze at the top. We're going to talk about this in heartbeats, but right in here, called like that tank top area, you're squeezing in and inhaling to lower down. So we could test out our TRX push-up or chest press. Heartbeats was our next one. So that tank top area right here, you can do it with a weight, a light weight, because being mindful, we're increasing the lever from our shoulders. That's a pretty long lever, so if I've got 30 pounds, that's a lot of strain to put on the shoulders, even if the chest is a lot bit stronger, not a little bit. So I really like doing this with a yoga block or like a dodgeball or soccer ball, basketball, because it gives me something to hold on to and squeeze, and then I can push out, activate right in here, squeeze, 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 and slow and controlled come back. So if you've got anything that you're putting pressure on, after about 5 reps, you should feel that burning and you should be shaking. So those are our heartbeats. An isometric hold is an option. If you don't have any wrist injuries and you're comfortable in a plank position, there's nothing wrong with holding a pose and activating and then releasing those muscles. So I'm just showing you a plank pose standing up right here. I would be actively engaging my chest to squeeze. You'll notice how the inside of my elbows rotate out, and then I relax and they rotate in slightly. So squeeze and relax. So you would do 15 reps of those. So in my plank position, you can even check yourself out in your camera or in a mirror. You're gonna squeeze. You'll notice it even pushes my shoulders up slightly, and then I release. Squeeze and activate. Now, just to protect those wrists, make sure the fingertips are digging into the earth, so they should be white on the tips, and then that'll help decrease any pressure on the wrist. And then last but not least, I was gonna demo chest fly. If you have TRX, you can do this in the TRX. Just being mindful that we're keeping the shoulder joint nice and fluid, so a heavier weight is going to increase the difficulty here and probably not help any existing injury you have, so just be mindful of that. But a chest fly, I would have my weight overhead, wrist directly in line with shoulders, and I'm going to open up with a slight bend. Doesn't matter how far I go, I don't need to drop all the way to the earth. You'll notice how that just popped my chest up slightly and my shoulders caved down to the ground. So pausing before I even hit the earth and then squeezing to bring that weight back to the center. So I inhale here, slight bend in the elbows, making sure that that lever, again, my arm, is bent. So I'm decreasing the distance from my shoulder to my weight. Slowly open up and exhale, squeeze back in together. So I hope that helps for those of you that are struggling with injuries and really still want to participate in our Sweet Summer Sweat. There's tons of options. Doing 15 reps of anything is gonna help you in the long run, but making sure that as women, we're focusing on that upper body, both the chest and the back. It's gonna help us have better posture, sitting up nice and tall, opening up with that chest. That strength just contributes to that good posture in the long run. And like I said, also helps lift those boobies up. So have fun, keep the challenge going. We're in day 4, so I'm really excited to get my 1,000 count down.